Big labor accused of big hypocrisy. The same union leaders demanding a $15 an hour minimum wage law now want an exemption for companies with union members. So, do as unions say, not as unions do. Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Bowling. Welcome to Cashin' In. Our Cashin' In crew this week: Wayne Rogers, Jonathan Honig, Michelle Fields, along with Juan Williams and Jessica Tarlov. Welcome, everybody. Michelle, it's incredible. Unions got their $15 minimum wage law in L.A. Now they want an exemption for union workers. You're from L.A. Any surprises?
I'm not surprised at all. This is shameless, and this is exactly how the unions work. This is why unions are basically dying right now. What's happening is they understand, just like the rest of us, that when you raise the minimum wage, it leads to more unemployment. This isn't rocket science. It's common sense. And what they care about is they don't care about the worker. They care about making money. They care about getting money from their members. So they want as many members as possible, and they want to make unions basically the cheapest labor and have more money for themselves. That's what this is all about.
Wayne, you're there as well. No surprises. LA is very liberal, and I get it. But, man, literally within days of getting their law through, they say, by the way, if you're a business and you hire union workers, we want you exempt.
It's incredible. But I think Michelle is right in the sense that this is all by the union leaders. The union leaders want this because it enhances their power. They're trying to get more members. They're not trying to better the workers' plight. They think that we'll raise the rate from $10 to $15 an hour, and then we'll regulate it that way because we'll say, oh, well, we'll have an exemption for union members. It's hypocrisy at its worst.
Insidious. Jessica, what about this? I remember a couple of years ago, the same thing happened with Obamacare. They said unions pushed for it. The SEIU petitioned for it. They pushed for it, and then there was about 200 unions that wanted waivers to Obamacare.
I'm not going to deny the hypocrisy on this or how detrimental I think it is to the cause of raising the minimum wage to have done this at the last moment. I mean, I respect what Michelle said, but there is evidence as well that raising the minimum wage is not going to hurt the economy. It's not going to hurt jobs or employment. And I feel like the union should have stuck with that argument or made it clearer sooner that they were going to.
They don't believe that argument. That's why they're doing this.
Go ahead, John, jump in.
Eric, the unions always talk about they want a fair market. Well, a fair market is a free market. Employers and employees come to mutually beneficial trade on a job. But, I think to the panel's point, this whole, for the working man, my tushy. The union's goal here is to hurt non-union businesses. They can't compete in that free market, so they use government guns, which is exactly what all these exemptions and minimum wages are, to shut down non-union businesses. This is cronyism by any other name.
Yeah, so Juan, I feel bad for you and Jessica today to have to defend this because it's so, the hypocrisy, the bait and switch is so evident, it's so obvious, it's blatant, it's hypocrisy, it's the worst. Everything we've always said about unions on the right is coming true front and center.
Yeah, I think that Eric Bowling is running this union. They're screwing up so bad because literally they are feeding the right-wing anger at unions and giving ammunition to Michelle. It's unbelievably hypocritical and stupid. I will say they think somehow that people won't notice this, and again, it undermines the importance of unions and the importance of raising the minimum wage, because I think there's no question that it's not going to damage any economy, and it's a free market. I want to remind Jonathan, there's a lot of exploitation of workers, exploitation of young people, exploitation of undocumented people by those big businesses.
Michelle, if it's so good, why do unions want an exemption for themselves?
Exactly. The reason why they're doing this is because they understand our argument. They don't want to admit it, but they know that if they raise the minimum wage, there's going to be unemployment. Their workers are going to be out on the streets, will not have jobs. That's why, Juan, it has nothing to do with
true.
It is true.
Eric,
that's why they're doing this.
This whole talk about exploiting young people. Given the violence with young people we've seen in the last couple of months, I think a lot of young people could probably, deserve being exploited by a job. It'd probably benefit them. But Juan, it doesn't even matter, this notion of does it create jobs? It violates rights. In a free country, an employer has the right to offer any job they want. And you know what? The employee, I guess you call them the exploited individual, has the right to take it. It's up to them, not up to government and their guns.
Let me get Wayne.
You missed a big history lesson here, Jonathan, about about how America has and the American middle class have grown as a result of union protections.
But let me give you a history lesson.
Let's not do the history of unions in America dating back to the 30s. Let me bring it to Wayne. Wayne, this had to pass, though. It had to pass the city council. How in the world did the city council let this pass, especially noting that there was this exemption written into it? We now know it was written into it before it actually passed. I mean, it reeks of possible, I don't know, payola, bribery, maybe?
You can count on it because, listen, nobody wants this except the union leaders. The leaders, not the rank and file. The rank and file doesn't necessarily want this. It's the leaders who want this. It's power that they want. That's all that this is about, and it's about a power grab, and they know this is false. How can you go out and say, gee, I'm for a $15 an hour that's a raise from $10 to $15 an hour, and then turn right around and say, oh, I want my people to be exempt from that?
And Eric, if I can quickly just say, the reason the unions advocate for the higher minimum wage is that even though a lot of union members don't make it, their salaries are benchmarked to it. So the union has every incentive to try to use government to raise their minimum wage.
Hugely important point there, Jonathan. A lot of jobs, all jobs, are benchmarked to the minimum wage. Union jobs, so they work up minimum wage times 2 or minimum times 3, et cetera, et cetera. So that's very important. Good point. Jessica, do you think the protesters that were hired to protest were paid the minimum wage?
I'm not sure about that, but going back to what Juan was saying, as soon as
nice.
I want to go back to my team here. I wore the right blue. Okay, so what I want to say is I think that we jumped too far to the $15. I think that, Senate Democrats wanted to go to $12 by 2020. Over 600 economists have signed a letter, including 7 Nobel laureates, saying that we can go to 10-10 safely for the economy. I think what happened here is we jumped the gun, and it created all of this uproar. And if we did it more slowly, incrementally, we could have had a better outcome.
All right, we're going to leave right there. Hey, Juan, do you want to comment on the 4 out of 5 dentists? What was it, 15 Nobel laureates? Is that what it was? Is that what you said?
She got the facts. I can't say that about the rest of you.
All right, good enough.